I have a question. This video is basically about, well, freedom in the United States and anything like in that regard. What does it take for people to understand truth? I was doing something today and something popped up in my head and I asked a couple logical questions. And most of the people that I talk with regarding this, it's like they don't have logical sense here in America or the world anymore. I asked my son to do a little report today. It took him about 15-20 minutes to read. The decline of the bees in America. Just a topic. I thought that was interesting. And asked him a couple questions, or wrote down a couple questions I wanted him to find out. And so he got on the computer and looked at it. What we found out is that last year, think of this. For the last several years, bees in America have been dying off. Not just in America, I think it was, worldwide, but United States, United Kingdom, drastically. In 1 year's time, we dropped 31%. So logic dictates that the year before we weren't at 100%. So let's just say we were at 50%. And so in 1 year's time, we dropped 31%. That's down, and that means from 50%, now we have 19%. Just in 1 year's time. What would that do? What would that cause? And I researched it a little bit and everything, and where are we heading? I look around at all these different issues that face the world. Why doesn't anybody stand up and say something? There's reporters out there. You turn on the news and you hear the same crud repeated every day, back and forth, same news. Why doesn't anybody else show these statistics and actually do a little bit of research, use their God-given brain, and actually do a little bit of research? This isn't political. This is nothing to do about anything. I'm just pointing out a couple facts here. So if we were at like 50% the year before, we dropped 31% in 1 year's time, and we look at the trend and draw a line from the last 5 years or so, it's just decline. And in 1 year's time, we dropped 31%. Not to 31%, but we dropped 31%. How long do we have in terms of that before, certainly we have other staples in the United States we could produce. People wouldn't starve. The United States is the chief export and everything around the world of food. So what's that going to happen when a third of our crop we can't export? We'll probably still have food here in the United States, but in other countries they're going to die. Millions and millions and millions. For another topic, Fukushima 2 years ago. Japan. The radiation around it. They're just getting ready. I think last week they got hit with one of the largest storms. What is that going to do to our fish? If you have Japan and the surrounding areas around it, the ocean, each year, the radiation, I'm probably not doing this correctly, the radiation gets worse and worse. It spreads out to the ocean. The killing off of our fish right there. Or a couple of years before that, remember the big oil spill over there in the Gulf? is still spewing out oil into the ocean down out there. They tried to cap it off, but it's still spraying. They weren't able to fully do it. It's still gushing oil out. These are just a couple topics and everything. And guess what? We're more interested in Syria or that junk. That's important. But I'm just taking just the one. Everybody's too busy working or looking at Facebook or watching TV or Survivor or something like that. What is the result of that? If you got Japan, radiation is spilling out year after year after year, that it just gets spread out further and further and kills off your fish. Not just a little bit. And then this guy hit another storm. There's so many different issues. It's like the world's getting hit with from left to right 1,000 different ways. That's just food. Remember what I said, just the honeybees and everything by itself, millions, and mathematically, millions, if we're the chief export and everything of food around the world, and that cuts a third of our food supply where we can't issue out. People are already starving today. What will it be like another year from now? When they can't produce another third of the state of that type of food that needs pollination by honeys. It's simple math. It's follow a chart. Which way is it going? It's going down. Probably never kill them all off and everything, all the bees, but it'll probably be 5%. That's not enough feed and for us to export to the other countries. That means millions and millions will starve. So we send that food out to those other countries. We get something in return. I don't know, oil, different other products. So what's that going to cause? We probably wouldn't physically starve here in the United States just because of honeybees. But what would that cause if we can't get the input, the trade that we do for food for that? We export food and we import oil or whatever. What would that cause? So now you're dealing with massive people dying, and we're higher cost in oil, higher cost in gas, higher cost in all this stuff. So that's going to affect the United States. It'll affect the world by people dying. So what's going to happen and everything when, I don't know. It's just like nobody understands. Nobody gets upset. Nobody looks at something on a logical basis anymore. We have all these people going to college every day. What are they learning? What are they learning? They're learning nothing. They're not looking, using the brain that they have. I'm no doctor or scientist, but I can put 1 and 1 equals 2. I thought of something over this past weekend and everything when I was at work. I thought as if we could have our founding fathers, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, if we were to have them and take them in the year 2013, right here, right now, what would they do? Drones flying over. In full production. Full production. I applied for an Illinois 40 card. I called them the other day. It's been over 30 days. The lady responded to me and said, well, they're backed up. It's going to be 2 weeks to 5 months. And I don't want to misquote her, or whenever, because they're so backed up. That's freedom. I thought I was guaranteed that right and everything in the Bill of Rights for the Second Amendment. Certainly, I got to agree and be reasonable 2 or 3 days. Hey, if you had to verify something, but now I got to wait 2 weeks to 5 months, or whenever. Maybe the postings I would say on Facebook about God bless America or something like that, maybe that'll be a red flag or something, or support the Constitution. You know what? Maybe that'll mean whatever. I won't ever get it. I'll get it, but might not be through the legal channels that they want me to. Nobody gets upset anymore. Nobody uses their brain. You know, we have people over there in the Boston, during the Boston bombing. So it's legal now to go from house to house to house to house to house to house to house, up and down the street, next neighborhood, up and down the house, up and down the house, for SWAT teams surrounding that person's house and pointing guns at them and telling those people to get out of their house. That's legal. Nobody gets upset. All these people in the, you know what I mean? What I can understand if someone was ignorant of facts or the Constitution or your rights. My son was going to school the other day, and I thought of something. Where is his teacher, his social studies teacher, standing up? These are book-learned people who went to college, who have years and years of studying this specific topic. Where are these people? Standing up saying nothing. Teaching our kids to be afraid of guns. Teaching our kids that, why aren't these people the ones that are most learned in this subject? I can understand if a person was ignorant. There's still no excuse. But these people are not ignorant. These people are college educated in social studies and history. Why aren't these teachers standing up? Why aren't the people in this world standing up? They're all a bunch of cowards. What's the end result? That's basically what a lot of people would like to know. What's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm not a conspiracist or this or that. But in my average learning, I'm able to at least add up 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 2 = 4. If you lose 31% and everything just in the honeybees in 1 year, that's not good. Why isn't it on the front page news every day? If you have people breaking into your houses, police officers breaking into your houses with SWAT teams, 6 or 7, 8 of them and everything on the front porch, and then tanks behind them, going house to house to house, demanding. They didn't ask nicely. Why isn't that reported on the news? Let me just think of this a logical subject. I don't care if a person wants to own guns or they don't want to own them. That's their own personal opinion. Let's think of this in a logical way, without political or any of that baloney. I relayed this to my son the other last week, and it comes down into a simple way. In the past, we used to have good kings and we used to have bad kings. The good kings would do good things for their country or for their people. But then if you happen to get a bad king, what would a bad king do? He would do anything and everything. He would want power, control over the people. And when that wasn't enough, he would take over another kingdom. When he did that, he would take over another kingdom. He wants power and control, and that's what he wanted. I got to keep this a little bit short and everything. So you look around in the world, education used to be number 1. Now we're number 17. Health-wise, the most sophisticated country in the world. We're dead last, pretty much dead last. Heart disease, everything. Nobody stands up and says anything. What's wrong with you, America? What's wrong with you? Are you so fixated? If it was me, and I was the bad king, I'd want you so fixated and everything on Facebook and everything else that you're not actually using your God-given brain. Look around and wake up.